got a strange going on out here. Something just killed my dog.
Something killed your dog?
Hey, everybody. Thank you so much for joining the show tonight. As always, I'm your host, Dano. You guys, I got a great guest again tonight. You guys may know him. He's Rod from Australia. You guys, he's coming back for another story that we just couldn't really get to the first time he was on, and I really wanted to bring him back on. But before we bring Rod on, I just want to say thank you so much for all the support you show the channel. If you guys have had an encounter, you'd like to come on the show, please shoot me an email at thecryptidpodcast72@gmail.com. Again, that's thecryptidpodcast72@gmail.com. Without further ado, let's go ahead and bring the man of the hour on, Rod. Rod, what's up, mate?
G'day, Dano. How are you, mate?
I'm doing good. Look at that
excellent
weather, man. It's beautiful weather behind you right now.
Yeah, great. Great day in southeast Queensland.
Yeah.
So had a drop of rain for a while, so everything's blue skies.
Well, it rained all night last night. I'm glad we got the rain. So,
yeah, we could do with the dash, but
yeah,
it is what it
is. So, you had talked about this encounter that you're going to discuss. You and your group went to Blackdown National Park, correct?
That is correct.
You know what? I'm just going to put the camera on you and say, let's run with it. Let's hear that encounter.
Excellent, mate. Well, the encounter itself, the decision to go to Blackdown National Park, I had read or listened to a podcast from the Believe site with Cade Moyer, and he had a young lady on that lived fairly close to the national park. And she had numerous encounters up there way back. And she was absolutely, in the end, she was terrified. She said basically she never would feel comfortable going back into the bush. So after our trip to the Pilliga, we had a get together, and we tried to get away for a week each year. That's our Yowie expedition. So it didn't take much convincing to talk the guys into going to Blackdown. So I had heaps of time. The guys checked out the podcast, checked out the area, we made the necessary bookings, and basically away we went. We got up there on this was in July. Fairly early in July. So we ended up at Munnell Campground. Our site number was 15. So, had a great trip up, about an 8-hour run from Brisbane up to Blackdown. Magnificent country. So, that's our site at number 15. So we got in there, set up camp. We had, Karen and I had our camper. Steve decided to swag it. So he had a hoop swag, the same one from the Pilliga. And Michelle had her little camper van. We got up there, no great dramas. Now, Blackdown itself, it's a mountain range that basically just juts straight up from some very, very flat country. Magnificent, absolutely magnificent. So much so that, again, I went into holiday mode. And the Friday night, we were all set up, had a nice little fire pit there with us. The campground, there was a lot of scrub, but a clear area around our camp area. The we spent a bit of time up around the campfire, and anyway, I'd say probably around maybe 12:30, 1 o'clock in the morning. It sounded like it was raining, and anyway, so I thought I'd jump out and just check and make sure all the gear was stowed away. We had the gazebo, and just to make sure no water was going to run off into something or anything like that. So unzipped the camper, stepped outside, and got a clear sky. But as I was laying there in the camper, it just sounded like rain coming down on top of the camper. So I didn't make the connection. So back to bed, and so that was the Friday night. We from the podcast and Hades experiences up there, it had all happened basically down below the escarpment. So my line of thinking was, if we were going to have an encounter, it'd be below the escarpment, maybe following some of the creek systems, and so yeah, that was my line of thought. We spent a lot of time up on the escarpment country. There's a lot of four-wheel drive tracks up there, a lot of beautiful waterfalls and water holes, and yeah, we spent a lot of time up there. So that was all good. We basically didn't hit that bottom country. So we come to Tuesday night, Wednesday morning is when it all happened. We had a camp oven meal the Tuesday night, and anyway, we were all done and dusted by about 10:30. Everyone was fairly tired. The girls decided to call it quits early, so Karen wandered off to the camper. Michelle was fairly close to the campfire. Anyway, as Karen was, they were having a bit of a yarn before they parted ways, and they both made mention of a smell in the air. Now they both had smelt this smell before, and they came back and made Steve and I aware of this odour. And yeah, so after that, it put us on, you wouldn't say high alert, but just to be aware there might be something in the area. So that was all good. Steve and I stayed up till about 12:30 and decided to call it quits. Now, you probably, Dana might pull up a photo, but you can see the position of Steve's swag next to the camper trailer, and he probably had maybe 2 meters. So between his swag.
Let me get that one ready real quick.
Yeah, thanks, mate. Yeah, so between his swag and the camper trailer. With that smell in the area, both Steve and I, before we called it quits, we had a bit of a wander around, and behind Steve's vehicle, there was a bush, a fairly scrubby sort of bush. And the closer we got to it, the more pungent the smell was. So we sort of formalised the thought that maybe this creature had been observing us having our meal around the campfire from that bush. Seemed to make sense at the time. So we called it quits. Steve jumped into his swag. I went up into the camper trailer with that odor around. I slept with my boots on, had my torch ready. I just had a feeling that something might happen. So the went to bed. All was good. 20 past 2 in the morning, I hear a scream, and it's Steve screaming my name out. Because I was ready to go, had the camper trailer unzipped fairly quick, hit the torch, proceeded down the steps of the camper, and my light just happened to swing to about my 2 o'clock as I was exiting the camper trailer, and my beam caught a massive thigh as it was passing through a small window in the scrub as it was heading to the north. And absolutely incredible.
Do you want me? Is that the other picture you want me to show?
Yeah, if you like, mate. Yeah,
Okay.
the one with the red circle on it.
Okay. Stand by.
Yeah, just on the right-hand side was that little window where I saw the thigh of this creature. So obviously the trailing leg, and as it headed into the scrub. So but at that stage my priority was Steve. So I got to Steve fairly quickly. Steve was up and out of his swag, and he wasn't. He was excited, confused, a little bit shocked of what had occurred, and talking to Steve, I said, mate, basically what happened. So Steve said basically when he as soon as he got into the swag, got settled, he heard stick breaking, and to him it appeared around that bush area that we'd checked out. So this creature, or the Yowie, basically from 12:30 till 20 past 2, where it culminated, just terrorised him. I don't know why Steve didn't yell out sooner, but so what happened to Steve? He heard the creature come in, and first time it came through, it walked up to his swag and did a circle of his swag and up through the gap between the camper and his swag. He said then it departed. He then heard it come back, and with a bit of the space, and it returned, and it stopped shy of his swag, and then proceeded to pick up handfuls of small pebbles and these seed pods that were in the area. It then proceeded to throw the seed pods and pebbles at his swag, and also hitting the camper. Now, at that stage, I must have been very tired, because I never heard the pebbles hitting the camper. So Steve said it then departed, and again he's facing on his swag. He had the entry flap open, and he heard it depart. Now he was facing away from the open flap, so this creature again came in. It walked. It did another lap. It stopped at the opening of his swag. It then he felt it lift the flap of the swag and look inside, and then again it departed. So this creature was doing multiple sorties around his swag. It came in again, and Steve said it could have been rustling around the side of the camper. So, which I'll go into after, or the morning after, when we sort of looked around. Okay, so I do believe when it was out on the side of the camper, Steve heard it mumble. It was vocalizing, but it seemed to be some sort of language. Again, I think I described that one down at the Pilliga. It sounded almost robotic with clipping. Now, we're only surmising at this stage that there might have been two creatures. Why else would it be vocalizing? So yeah, and as I said, that massive leg that I saw as I came down, Steve said it departed. It seemed to its escape route was always back around that bush to the south of us. Okay, so it's back there at that bush, and as I said, 2:20. This creature had come in again, and Steve heard it coming in and brushing against the side of his swag. He was absolutely terrorized because he knew it was at the base of his swag, and that shot where you can see the swag is actually where that creature had stopped. So Steve's laying there. It's at the base of that swag. It leans down. Now Steve had his feet in a sleeping bag with the feet up against that back wall of the swag. The creature ran its hands down the back of the swag and then felt his feet. And it then proceeded to basically grab, well, not grab, but investigate his feet, touching, rubbing, and trying to figure out what it was touching. At that stage, Steve had enough. That's when he screamed for me, and that's when I came running. Now he's again. Steve said the creature took off to the south, and as I came down the camper steps, definitely saw, the biggest thigh I've ever seen in my life. Orange hair, orange to brown was probably the best description of the colour. Only saw the one basically stride as the trailing leg went into the scrub, but it was huge, absolutely massive. Couldn't believe it. Steve sort of settled down. I don't know how he managed to go back to sleep, but so in the morning, I checked around, and there was pebbles and seed pods, all sort of gathered up where they'd hit his swag and basically rolled down the side, and the same with my camper. So I looked for damage to the camper, and what appeared to happen, it had forced its hand between the body of the camper and the canvas, and it had actually bent the canvas bracket that holds the canvas to it, and put a huge bow in it. Now, stainless steel, and one would think we would have heard something, but with the effort to bend that, but whether I was tired as well, and my wife Karen, that we never heard it, but definitely damage done that night. So a crazy encounter, and probably one Steve will never forget. The to close it off, the Karen and I stayed till the next Friday morning. Michelle, I think she had electrical trouble, and the Wednesday, Michelle took off to get her camper repaired, and Steve decided he was going to head back down to Brisbane and check on his mum and dad. So that left Karen and I there, and we experienced nothing else after that. So we go back to that Friday night when we first got there. As I said, I was in holiday mode, and obviously this creature was throwing pebbles and these seed pods at the camper. It actually did sound like it was raining. Absolutely incredible. So that is the encounter at Blackdown National Park. Great time. I hope anyone heading up that way, we've given them enough information. Site 15, not too far from the public toilets there, or the drop toilets. So a great time, but never expecting an encounter up on the escarpment. As I said, expecting it down on that bottom country. But looking at the lay of the land, we had a flowing creek, probably 100 metres from us. You've got to have water, and there is a lot of water up in that escarpment country. Me talking myself into thinking of that I know what these things do, but definitely up on top, and definitely down below as well. Vocalizations, only what Steve heard, that mumbling sound. A very interesting investigation up there at Blackdown. Back over to you, Dano.
Yeah, that is pretty crazy. Now, so you said you and your group, you go out once a year, and how many people are normally in your group?
Generally the four of us. Depending if we travel, we're going to head down to a place called Wee Jasper. We're hoping for March next year, and a week down there. And on the way home is the Pilliga. And with that book Luca did, we're going to we've got enough information that we can get pretty close to where that all happened. So Definitely looking at having 3 weeks holiday, one down at, and 1 week at Wee Jasper, and 1 week back in the Pilliga. And but so the for this year, we're going to head down to Stanthorpe, to my mate's property, and see what we can encounter there.
Awesome. Let's see here. So you described what you saw as orangish brown. Now, do you think this is the same one that was messing with Steve while he was in his swag?
Well, Steve said he heard it head to the south, where the one I saw was basically to the east. So I'm only speculating there might have been two creatures.
Okay. Let me ask you. So, how did this encounter differ from the other two that you had discussed on the last episode you were on?
There was not that much difference. A curiosity, but this one probably verging on aggression and wanting us out of that area, where the one down at the Pilliga was quite content to wander around our campsite, and it was at no stage sort of forcing us out. But to go to the stance of throwing stuff at us. I thought I'd never experienced anything like that. And as I said, I didn't even realise it the first night, but it all made sense after Steve said he was basically under attack in his swag. And,
So you definitely say this one felt like it was more aggressive than the one.
Yeah. Aggressive to me is a fairly hard word,
Yeah.
or hard edge on it. I'd just be saying that a gentle reminder that maybe not be in that area.
Okay.
So I wouldn't. I don't believe they're overly aggressive, but it depends on the situation too,
Right. And it's funny that I've heard people say that the Yowie can be very, very aggressive and is normally aggressive. But again, I don't know if they've personally encountered it or they're just going off of what they've heard, because your encounters are the only ones that I've been able to have on the show. Now, how far away is it between Blackdown National Park and the Pellegrin?
Probably eight, and say probably around 15 hours of travelling time.
So 15 hours. Wow.
Yeah. This Blackdown is like an absolute oasis in a sea of scrub. It just rises out of basically flat country.
Okay.
Yeah,
Kind of like the Mogollon Rim.
Yes. Yep. From what I've read.
Yeah. Let's see here. So, how long did Steve hear that vocalization, the mumbling?
He said that it might have been maybe 5 or 6 seconds, but very distinct. It definitely wasn't a person. It was a different language, different sort of vocal cords. It just didn't sound human.
Okay. And how long did he go into detail on what it was doing? You said it was like messing with his foot. Like,
Yes.
did he say, like, what exactly did it do? Did he
It,
get into that detail?
it pressed its hand up against the side of the swag, and Steve's feet were basically at the bottom of the sleeping bag, and it pressed against it, and then felt his feet, and then sort of did an action around his feet, trying to figure out what it was actually feeling. So it was sort of investigating his feet.
I mean, yeah, that's I think you would have had another guest in your camper if I'd have been there. Yeah, absolutely. You know,
Yeah,
that's a big no thank you.
no, oh, exactly. The I would have been gone. I
Yeah.
would have been gone as well. Yeah, that is way too close. And
So
as you can see with those swags, they're like a cocoon, you know.
yeah,
And Steve's a big boy. You're not going to get out of there in a hurry, you know.
no, it doesn't look like it. It doesn't
No,
look like it. I'm claustrophobic. I don't think I would stay in a swag. That just looks like it's too confined to me.
yeah. That style of swag's quite good for inclement weather,
Okay.
and it's got enough vents on it for the hot weather. You know, you can get a breeze going through it. But generally, the Australian swag doesn't have a hoop on it. It's basically a canvas
Okay.
setup with a blanket in it, and so your head's exposed and all the rest of it.
Well, that's kind of like
That's the standard.
that's kind of like the 2-man tent, the pup tents that we had when I was in the military. It's just a piece of
Oh,
green canvas that has a couple stakes that you put up, and you put something in the middle, you tie the 2 stakes together, the poles, and then you have the tent come down, and then you stake in the ends, and you dig like a little drainage
oh, yeah, around it.
thing around it. So when it rains, it doesn't collect onto your tent. It goes into this little drainage thing and then drains down. But
Yes.
yeah, you're exposed on one end, but
Mm,
it's very
mm,
easy to get into the other end if you need to,
yes. Yes.
So they say it's a
Yeah,
2-man, but really, come on now, it's more of a one person.
yeah, exactly. But
So
yeah, no, these hoop swags have only sort of became popular probably in the last 10 years. The the only downside is they take up a fair bit of room, you know.
yeah,
Yeah,
I mean, it looks like it'd be fun to use. But here's my thing, when he was out there and he heard it pacing around, do you think that Yowie was potentially trying to figure out a way to get inside there, or and then you said it actually did damage to your camper?
mm. Mate, I think it was just straight up uh, just wanted us out of there.
Yeah,
It's crazy. Antagonizing Steve, you know.
yeah.
It was yeah. Yeah.
Well, how many people was he the only one sleeping outside?
Yes, Michelle was in her um, vehicle, set up as a camper,
Okay.
and Karen and I were in our camper.
Now,
Camper trailer. Mm.
did anybody see any other signs that it had been around their vehicles? Because the last time you were on, you showed me this picture here with
Yeah,
those
nothing
prints
like
on it.
that.
Nothing.
No, nothing. No, nothing like that at all. It seemed to be focused on uh, us rather than vehicles or anything like that. There was
And you didn't see anything like this.
no, no. There was no sort of oily residues or any finger drag marks, not even on the swag itself.
Okay.
Yeah, so, but as far as footprints, the the ground around that campsite was basically concrete. It
Okay.
just hard, dry, and well compacted soil. Because it is a campsite and people are driving in and out,
Yeah.
and yeah, so there wasn't a chance of spotting any footprints. Did go for a walk down to the creek, which was to the north of us, and again, fairly rocky. and just not conducive to finding footprints.
Now, looked like there were I think 15 sites in this campground. Was there anybody else in this campground with you guys?
Yeah, it might have been maybe quarter full. So yeah, there might have been maybe four others, maybe five other campsites.
And did you hear anybody else talking about
No,
hearing something or something messing with them?
no, nothing like that. No screams in the night.
Yeah,
So,
yeah, no kidding.
yeah, yeah, but very interesting, very
Yeah,
interesting.
it really was.
Yeah, as I said, we try to base our yearly get together on historically active areas, and
Mhm.
I think that's the secret, you know.
Yeah.
Mm, mm.
Well, do you have any others you want to talk about, or?
Well, only if you want an interesting UFO.
Sure, bring it
Yeah.
on.
Okay. Well, I've got a couple, but I'll go. Um, I'll go back to very quickly. Um, my first UFO encounter was when I was about 16, maybe a little bit younger. Now, there'd been reports on our local radio station, so born and bred in Toowoomba. Now, I'm certain our local radio station had mentioned that objects were being seen in the sky, and I thought that was pretty interesting. Uh, so everyone was aware in our small city. Mum was out. Now this would have been the next day. Mum was out hanging the washing on the clothesline, and I was messing around with my CB radio, and she called out to me. I ran outside, and Mum was looking up and pointing. Now these objects that I saw, there was three. They were spherical in shape, but very very high up over the city, and they looked like a dull aluminium colour. Had no idea of the height. All I could say, very high. And they were doing manoeuvres. Now this was about 1973. They were doing manoeuvres that a plane or an aircraft just couldn't do. We watched them until the point where I just got bored and walked back inside. And so early on, that was my first encounter. But I think a lot of people in that at that time would have seen it over Toowoomba or seen them. Now going back, the around 1990, Carnival of Flowers time. So around this time of year in Toowoomba, they have a garden or flower. It's actually called the Carnival of Flowers. So all the parks are all primed with all these flowers and everything, and the public open up their private gardens. Anyway, the three of us and my mate's father, we decided that we would go fishing, get out of town. So we headed off to Walk-on Station. Freshwater fishing. Now it is probably maybe a 3.5 hour run from Toowoomba, heading west, and it had the Condamine River flowing through the property. So I admit we called into the Condamine pub. Now my mate was driving. He was feeling a little bit off, and he wasn't drinking. So he turned out to be the designated driver. So all good. Now we're in a little Subaru Brumby. I don't know if you have those, but they're a small ute. We had a trailer on the back, and so there was myself, Tony, and then Greg and his father Bob were in the front, and Tony and I were in the back, and we had a canopy on the Brumby. So we'd come off the main highway onto the walk-on station road, and down to, at that stage, the station house, and we turned onto the road that ran adjacent on the northern side of the river, and we were heading to a camping spot, which was probably maybe 3 kilometres down. It would have been upstream. So, well, we're driving through the scrub, and we probably covered maybe 1.5 kilometres. Anyway, I happened to look forward, and I noticed that Greg, who was driving, was craning his neck to look at something up in the sky. Anyway, so I tapped on the glass, and I said, "Yeah, what are you looking at?" And he slowed down and he pointed, and here's this light in the sky. And anyway, Greg said, there was a gate that we had to go through. He said, when we get to this gate, and that was fairly close to where we wanted to be camping, he said, we'll pull up at the gate and we'll have a look if it's still there. Okay, so we slow down, stop at the gate. We go through the gate. Now, our usual camp spot is about maybe 300 metres to our left on the river. So where we've pulled up, we've all got out. We've all got cameras, but none of us even thought of pulling cameras out. It was just crazy the way the mind works. So we're all propped up against the bull bar on the Super Brumby, and we're looking in a southwesterly direction at this light. Now, at that stage, it had become evident that this light was like a torch beam. It was being emitted by something in a cone shape onto the ground. It was the brightest light I had ever seen, even to the stage of these days with LED lights. It was almost a solid light, just unbelievable and mesmerising. So we're watching this light to the southwest, and then came to the realisation that it was moving and coming towards us. So we sat there and just looked, and then I realised that it was basically following the river and lighting up the river, slowly coming towards us. Now, I would estimate we'd seen it at probably maybe 10 kilometres because it was so bright. And yeah, slowly coming, and probably at a kilometre, thought, this is, it's not a helicopter, there's no sound, there's, at that stage, no running lights, nothing that we could say was of ours, you know. Now, as I said, we were about, maybe 300 metres from the river. This thing's coming in, so if it didn't change trajectory, we're going to see it at its closest point at about 300 metres. At about maybe 500 metres, now the height of the craft, estimate maybe 120 feet to 130 feet max. It's still on its course down the river, and at that point, it started to black out a very, very starry night. And one could start to see the shape of it. It was your classic saucer shape, small in height dome on top, out into the upper surface, a very small leading edge. Now around that leading edge was a series of very, very dull lights. I call them as red, blue, and yellow. My other mates, or one of them, said he thought the blue might have been green. And this craft keeps coming with this extremely bright cone-shaped light. It got to the point where it wasn't going to be getting any closer. So the closest point, and we just had a great view of it. It then started to depart. So it sort of came in from when we first saw it, from the southwest, but obviously following the river, and departed to the east. Okay. I think the first words were, geez, I'm glad that thing never stopped. We gathered ourselves together and thought how lucky we were to have seen something like this. Okay, we got ourselves back into the vehicle and proceeded down to our campsite, where there were some other fishermen camped. We roared into their campsite and just yelling, what did you see? What did you see? You had to have seen something. They all wandered out of their large tent, wondering what we were on about. They'd slept through the whole thing, which I found absolutely incredible. How can you sleep through that? It would have been blinding to be under that light. Okay, so next morning, we made our way down to another campsite. Next morning, Pickaninny dawn, we had got up early to throw our fishing lines in, and as I said, Pickaninny dawn, so just before daybreak, so still almost dark, a helicopter comes through. Now, a military helicopter, there is a base just outside of Toowoomba, to the west of Toowoomba at Oakey. This helicopter's come through fairly high, and it came through on the exact same path that this craft did. I think they acknowledged us on the first pass, gave us a bit of a wave, and then gone. At that stage, I said, guys, we saw something last night. If the military are interested in this, we definitely saw something. Okay, so an hour later, another helicopter, different one, came through. Same type, but a different one. So obviously they had helicopters flying everywhere. Now this one was a lot lower. It was just above treetop level, and they did give us a wave. So they were looking for something. Now, had a great fishing trip. Obviously, the fish liked the UFOs because the fish were on. So we did very well. Great weekend. Something right, just hard to describe. Now, as I said, a basic description of the craft, classic saucer shape. Now the size of it, I would estimate well in excess of 100 feet diameter. Just massive, absolutely massive. Um, uh, the thing that really strikes me was the absolute perfection of this craft. It was perfect, absolutely perfect. The the chariots of the gods. Well, this was befitting a god. It was perfect. That's my best description. Not a scene from what we could see. There must have been a little bit of reflection back from the tops of the trees or that maybe even the ground as it was nearing that point where it was very close to us. But as I said, it was perfect. Great trip. Headed back to Toowoomba. The local paper is called the Toowoomba Chronicle, and Monday they run a story, and it said meteorite spotted over Surat, Roma. So they're those small towns to the west of where we were fishing. It was then sighted at Charlton, which is on the western edge of Toowoomba, and then lo and behold, it was then spotted over Glen Innes, which is basically 90 degrees and south. I don't know of any meteorites that do right-hand turns. And why they would even publish that crap, that's what they did. Okay, so now with the Chronicle, I wanted to revisit this sighting. Often thought about going to a hypnotist. Probably, maybe still do it, But it's still vividly imprinted in my brain what I saw, and I'm certain with the other boys that were there, But so all good. Now, other witnesses. I had a mate who was a truck driver. He used to do what they call the Mungalala run, and he worked for a sawmill mob, and he would cart timber. And he was heading out to Mungalala from Toowoomba, and he was on a highway to the north of us. So the main highway that runs into Roma. And caught up with him maybe a couple of days later. And I said to him, Viv, did you see anything strange on Friday night on your run? And he looked at me and he said, oh, you mean that light in the sky down towards Surat? And I said, yep, that's it. And he said, yeah. He said, he described it the same. He was quite a few miles further back, but he said the intensity of the light was incredible. And from where he was at a slightly elevated position, looking down into this basin, he described it as a cone-shaped light as well, but very, very bright. So there's and to be reported in the Chronicle as well, people had to have phoned in. Would love to talk to someone else who'd spotted it and where they were. But so that sighting actually got me to where I am now at RAF Base Amberley. I always thought if I was ever going to see another UFO, it'd be around an air base. So when the job came up, I just leapt at it. I thought, yeah, I'm in with a chance, you know. So yeah, that was a very, very interesting encounter. On base, yeah, seen a few strange stuff, but how are we going time wise, Dano?
We got about like 5 minutes before we hit an hour mark.
Excellent, mate. I'll tell you about uh, my last one on base. Okay, it all happened very, very quickly. So I'm out on patrol. I do security, and I'm off base, and uh, I've gone down a driveway, and I'm heading north, and in my passenger side window, I see a bright strobe go off, and I thought, oh, that's strange. And it was strange enough that it didn't correlate with any of our planes. So I reversed back up and got out of the vehicle. As you know, I won't get too technical because our vehicles are sort of back to front. You know, we drive on the wrong side of the road apparently. So I've got out of the vehicle and I'm looking to the southwest, where I'd seen this light or this strobe go off in the sky. I'm standing there and bang, it goes off again. Now at that stage we had Super Hornets or F-18s up and half a dozen. Now they were starting to come in a holding pattern, starting to do their final runs and land. So definitely no, not one of our aircraft. So I'm looking, and then I noticed that this strobing seems to start to oscillate. So it would strobe, move a short distance, strobe, and go back to its original position. And it probably did this about 4 times. And I'm thinking, oh, this is weird. Then I'm looking, and I'm not seeing anything. But within about, I'd say, a second, between 1 and 2 seconds, this craft had traversed northwards and was basically to the west of my position in 1 or 2 seconds. Now, the angle of it was fairly high in the sky. I made a decision to ring a mate. Now, he's on the other side of the main range. Now, I'm surmising that this craft was travelling up the main range. Now, it got to that position where it stopped to the west of me and strobed again. It did that oscillation thing again and then headed back south again. Now, our planes are starting to come in and land. I've rung a mate that is on the west side of the range at a little place called Pittsworth, and he's to the north of Pittsworth. And I've said, Merv, I'm looking at something strange in the sky. Go out in your front yard and see if you can see anything. Anyway, so Merv's grabbed his handheld phone and he's out in his front yard. At this stage, all 4 of the planes have landed, and with 1 to go. So this craft is to the south, still pulsating. the Hornet is starting its final run in. It suddenly powers up, banks hard, and heads south. Now, at that stage, we've got a Hornet going towards it. It's still to the south. Merv's on the phone, and I'm saying, Merv, can you see anything? And he's going, no, I can't see anything. No, nothing visible. Holy heck! Anyway, this craft had covered, I would estimate, maybe 70 kilometres, maybe 80 kilometres within 2 seconds. Now, it had passed just to the south of Merv's property. He made that exclamation as it was coming towards him. It strobed and just lit up. The whole front of it lit up. Now, it passed to the south of him. He said it was cigar-shaped. He said it almost looked like 3 portals in the side of it, and it departed to the west. And just like the Enterprise, it was just a blur of light. And the Hornet spun around. It had no chance, absolutely no chance of catching this object, and it returned to base and landed. And that was my probably my last sighting on base or around the Amberley area. So incredible, absolutely incredible.
I love listening to military based stories and encounters and things like that. So I do have a couple questions as well.
Yeah, by the way, mate.
So about when you said that you had phoned somebody and it had traveled, like you mentioned 3 towns. About how far apart are those 3 towns?
I would say maybe 50 to 55 kilometres, and it was travelling that in less than 2 seconds, easily less than 2 seconds.
My goodness.
Yep,
that is incredibly fast. Let's see here. I was about that answered my question. Let's see here. So the cone-shaped light you guys saw, you said it was a bright light. What color was this cone-shaped light?
It was the purest white. It was almost solid. Now,
okay.
Thinking over the years, because this was the early 90s, before I got married, I actually came up with the idea that it to me, it might have been surveying the river, because it followed the river. It just changed course to stay on that river. So I reckon it was surveying the river.
Okay. What color was the actual craft itself?
It might have, as I said, the only lighting was the reflected light off the ground coming back up onto the base of it. But the craft itself wasn't reflected. As it came across and started to blot out the stars, the upper section remained black. The reflected light, and as I said, the very dull running lights around the outer perimeter, it might have been a dull metallic aluminium colour.
Okay.
Yeah, but as I said, it was perfect. Absolutely perfect. Incredible. Absolutely incredible to see.
Now, you said how many F-18 Super Hornets were up in the air when this craft came into view?
I'd say 5 or 6. Yeah.
Okay. And I assume that's your Navy, correct?
No, Air Force.
Oh, so your Air Force is running Navy planes? Because the United States F-18s, they're Navy and Marine Corps.
Oh, are they? Okay.
Yeah, and they're I don't really know of many land-based squadrons for the Navy or the Marine Corps. I know there may be some out there, but primarily you're going to find F-18 Super Hornets, F-35 stealth fighters,
Yep.
on carrier based, their carrier based aircraft.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, we've gone a completely different. Yeah. Our Air Force. Squadrons of F-18s.
Do you have any
And
16s or 15s out there?
no, mate, no, we've got the 35s, but they're based
Oh,
down south. Yeah.
okay. Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
All right. So so when these craft were up again doing their maneuvers, landing and thing like that, did you notice any sudden movement changes in the F-18s
No.
when this craft was visible?
Yes, but only the last one. It was called to maybe go and have a look.
Okay.
It was coming in for its final, then powered up and then headed south.
Okay.
Mm.
Okay. Well, that's okay. So I got two more questions. So when you had your encounter in 1973, how old were you? Because you said your mom was out with the laundry, putting it on the line.
Yep. Mate,
How old were you?
I reckon I might have been 13, 14, something like that.
Okay, and then what about the ones?
Maybe a tad younger.
Okay.
Like I'm a 62 model.
Yeah.
So
well, I'm a 53 model.
You're kidding.
I'm 53.
Oh yeah.
I was born in 72.
Oh, you're 53.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. No, I mean
oh, you were born in 62.
62.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, I got
Yes,
you. I'm a
yes.
72 model.
Yeah.
So you were about 11.
Yeah, something like
Yeah,
that.
you were about 11.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, that's crazy. And then how old were you you and your mates when you saw what you saw?
Around 30, 29, 30. Because
Okay.
it was just before I got married.
Okay. See, here's the thing. A lot of people, when they listen to these or they watch these, like, and how's this person seeing so many things? I think it's nuts. And I've been called out multiple times. Oh, look at Dano. Here he is. Yeah, he's had all these encounters and this and this and this. They don't understand. You and I were Gen Xers. I think they might consider you a boomer, but we kind of grew up in a similar way. Is that we went out and did things.
Yes.
We rode our bikes, we hiked around, we camped, we went fishing, we went hunting. When we got older, we didn't just sit around our house. As soon as I got my driver's license,
Yes.
Rod, I'm telling you, I was gone.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
The only time I was home was when I had to
Mate,
go to school.
Mate, we were not wrapped in cotton wool.
No, absolutely not.
No.
When I was growing up, on Saturday mornings, I got up, I had either a Pop-Tart or like a waffle or something like that. And then I was on my bike. I maybe had between $5 and $10 in my pocket. And I went and rode to my buddy's house, knocked on the door, and his mom I'd always wake him up. He's not even up yet, Daniel. Okay, I'll sit out here on the lawn. And I'd sit out there for, 25, 30 minutes. And then next thing you know, I hear him come, running through the backyard with his bike, and then, hey, you got any money? Yep, I got $10. Cool, we're set for the day. And then we'd head on over to our next buddy's house. And there'd be like 10 kids on bikes. And we would just ride all over the place.
See, when I was growing up, the only proviso was, please be back before dark.
Yep.
And you'd be gone. You'd be gone at dawn and have to be home by dark,
Yep.
Yeah.
And usually our parents, they knew the other parents in the neighborhoods. And if the parents knew us, and if we needed to make a call, or if we just happened to be by someone's house, they hey, Daniel, your dad called, he needs you to get home now. And then we took off. So that's what happened. So
that sounds very ominous, doesn't it?
Yeah.
You need to be home now.
But here's the thing, Rod, man, today is just the kids nowadays, unfortunately, the way society is and the way neighborhoods are, kids will never know the freedoms that you and I had at 12 years old, at 10 years old. There was no worry about people trying to take you, or there was no worry about people trying to do you harm.
Yep, that's right. Yeah.
It's
Well, see, Dan, that's another reason why I love chatting to you, and another reason why I want to give as much information about where these encounters have happened.
yeah.
So that people will actually go out there if they want to experience it. They've got half a chance, you know.
Yep.
Yeah, that's why I give as much information as I can.
You know, yeah, you're giving people the opportunity to see for themselves. Not everybody, but here's the thing, and I'm sure you may have heard this. You can lead a horse to water, but you can't make him drink.
Yeah, mate, I don't understand a person listening to Yowie or Bigfoot podcasts
Yeah.
if they haven't got a genuine. Why would they listen to it to put hoo-ha on it? You know, that's the thing.
The world we live in is now one of the most what's the word I'm looking for? One of the greatest inventions of all time is social media, the internet, the cell phone. You have all of these amazing inventions, but they're also the worst thing that's ever happened to humanity because no one takes the time to get out and to enjoy each other's company. None of the kids nowadays are going to know what it's like to meet up with a group of friends, ride their bikes to the park, or ride their bikes down to the waterway, or ride it to a lake or a river or a stream or whatnot, and fish all day long.
Yep.
They're not going to understand that. They're not going to know what it's like. Like when I was growing up, the place to be was a mall. Go to the mall, and your parents, if you were lucky, like I was at times, my dad would give me, anywhere between 20 and $50, and tell me, I'll pick you up when the mall closes. Oh well, we're gonna go to a movie after that. Okay, well as soon as the movie's over, give me a call and I'll come and pick you up. And we would hang out at the mall from open to close. And again, nowadays it just you won't see that. So
No, a change of times, mate.
yeah,
Change
absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, my friend, I think we're there.
Hey, speaking of UFOs,
Yeah.
as I told you in my first interview, I purchased what I consider a pretty good thermal.
Yeah.
I took what I consider some pretty good UFO footage. Now,
Really?
Yeah. So I will send it to you.
Okay.
Feel free to use it on the podcast.
Sure.
I will say, I'll give you the rundown on it. This craft came in. We were seeing multiple craft. This is down at my mate's farm down there at Stanthorpe. There've been multiple sightings over the last probably 2 years. We happened to be down there. Oh, crazy birds.
I love hearing
it. Actually, Indian miners, they're an import and they've just taken over. But this footage that I got, this craft came in from the east. Now, they weren't visible to the naked eye, only on therm. We were picking them up at a great range. It would have been right on the edge of the sensor, but no dramas. It came in from the east. It flew directly over the top of the cabin. As it got to the apex over the top of the cabin, I got a little bit shaky, which you'll see, in the footage.
Yeah.
And then it departed to the west. But as I said, I probably sighted 30 objects, only on the therm, and over a period of about 2 hours.
Wow.
So, mate, I will send that footage to you, and do with it what you want.
Cool,
But
man.
at least you've got the background story.
I appreciate that. I really do.
Mm.
Well,
I'll shoot it off to you sometime this afternoon.
sure. Well,
Yeah,
this
it should
afternoon
be
to
there.
you.
It should be there when you wake up, mate.
Yeah, probably.
What are we looking at? About 11:30 now, your time? 10:30?
Almost 9:00 p.m.
Oh, that's not bad.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's excellent.
Yeah. So
I don't feel guilty now for keeping you up all night.
yeah, I think we were up till like midnight my time last
Yeah,
time.
that's right.
We just couldn't stop talking though. We had such a great conversation going.
Yeah, mate.
So,
Yeah, exactly.
So if you hold on for 1 second, I'm gonna go ahead and close the show out. You just hang out in the lobby there, and I'll show you something that someone sent me. So
yeah, brilliant, mate.
all right, guys. Yep. Hey, you take it easy, my friend. Nice seeing you again.
I will. Thank you, and thanks for the opportunity, mate.
Absolutely. Hey guys, again, that's Rod, and that's life down under. That's life in Australia, guys. Yowie encounters, UFO encounters. Now I'm telling you, I've heard a lot of stories like from Tasmania and other parts of Australia. There's a lot of UFO activity out there. A lot of it. Why? I don't know. And again, you're hearing three different stories from one individual when it comes with the Yowie. The first one wasn't really aggressive in a way. It was more of a curiosity. And then the second one was a more aggressive encounter, like this thing wanted them out of that area. So again, this goes to show that regardless of where you are in the world and you're encountering some type of a cryptid, you're gonna have a mixed bag of what you run into. So you guys can take that for what it is. I'm just gonna say that I can't wait to get some more Yowie encounters, and I'm going to see if Rod will help me out with that. And some bunyip encounters. I'll see if he'll help me out with that as well. So for those of you who clowned me for saying binyip instead of bunyip, I apologize. I said it correctly. So stop being sassy and nasty. All right, you guys. I just want to say thank you so much for coming on and spending time with me. I truly, truly appreciate it. You guys remember, if you guys have had an encounter and you love to come on the show or would like to come on the show, so this ain't their bag sometimes. People just don't want to come on the show. But if you do, shoot me an email at thecryptidpodcast72@gmail.com. Again, that's thecryptidpodcast72@gmail.com. You guys, I can't say it without getting off of here. As my buddy Josh always says, you guys stay prayed up. And as I always like to say, remember, a legend begins with the sighting. You guys have a wonderful night. Thank you so much, and I'll see you next time.
I got a strange going on out here. Something just killed my dog.
Something killed your dog?